Good morning once again. Thank you very much for staying with NewDay. This is TV3, and time now to look at our health, because your health is of major concern to us, and we have a segment called Health Club, and that is what is up next. We have been joined in studio by Dr. Jacob Amwacho. He is a gynecologist and currently with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We are looking today at issues relating to women's health, especially girl, child or female health, with regard to those who are normally below a certain age. Now, we are told that 12.2% of current marriages in Ghana are young girls or children who have been forced into marriage, or what you call the forced marriages, that we have a lot of young girls being pushed into that. This is not only a breach of the rights of these young girls, but they are also being exposed to grave danger health-wise. And it is that health aspect that we want to look at this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, to start with, let's look at the issue of ladies or girls. At what age can we say that a girl is matured enough to be sexually active?
Thank you very much. Usually we consider from 20 years and above.
20 years?
Yes, and above. That is when the physiology and the anatomy of the woman is ready for conception or childbearing. And
we have also known that lots of people engage in those kinds of sexual activities, sometimes even from the age of 9, 10 upward. What are some of the health implications in when people do those kinds of things?
In fact, there are so many health implications which may arise from a young lady having sex before 20 years. It could be related to the child's health, or when they get pregnant, it could also be related to the health of the unborn child.
And if you can break it down for us, for a young lady who is in her early teens to have engaged in sexual activity, what are some of the bodily changes?
Well, the ultimate may be that she will get pregnant. She can also be exposed to sexually transmitted infections.
Okay.
And then those that are immediate, and then later on those that may manifest later into cervical cancer. Yes, and if she gets pregnant, then the body is not yet ready for pregnancy, so all sorts of complications may arise. And some of them may be preeclampsia, or when you develop hypertension in pregnancy. They may be anemic, and they may fail to gain proper weight. They have adequate weight gain in pregnancy, but if you are a young lady, or if you are less than 20 years, you are unlikely to gain the appropriate weight. Yes, and then during delivery, they may have something called cephalopelvic disproportion. It means that the baby compared to the pelvis are disproportionate. And if this is not recognized early, then complications may arise. The baby may die. The woman later on may develop something we call a fistula. So there are so many complications. And then to the baby too, they are prone to preterm birth with preterm birth with low birth weight.
Well, what was the meaning of preterm birth?
We consider pregnancy to be term when it is 37 completed weeks to 40 weeks. Yes, so if you are going to deliver below 37 weeks, between 28 weeks and 37 weeks, then it means you are delivering a preterm baby.
Okay.
And this is associated with low birth weight, because as the pregnancy progresses, the baby gains weight alongside. So if you are going to deliver before the stipulated time, then the weight of the baby is going to be also less than, yes, as required, and it comes with so many problems. They could have respiratory problems. They could have problems with tolerating temperature. Yes, and then they are prone to infections, to jaundice and all other sort of things.
And you also mentioned the word fistula. What does it mean, and how does that come about?
Fistula simply means that there is a communication between a mucous membrane and the skin. So, for instance, when the child is going to deliver, when the pregnant woman is going to deliver and the head is so big that it cannot go through the pelvis, it gets impacted into the pelvis, and the soft tissues within the pelvis, usually the vaginal wall and the bladder wall, get squeezed such that there is no blood flow around the area. So the cells there dies off. Then later on, when the relief is taken away, that place that dies off erodes away, and then there's a communication between the bladder and the vagina. So the person will leak urine through the vagina, or if it is the other way around, then they are going to leak feces through the vagina.
How regular or rampant is this condition?
It is very common when the labor is not properly managed. So, teenage pregnancy, they won't go to hospital for them to be attended to. So when they go into labor and they don't go to hospital early enough and the baby gets impacted, then you may have this problem. So it only depends on how frequent they go to hospital. And this is usually common in areas that there are no health facilities.
Okay, and that shifts my attention to especially rural communities and rural settings where we do not have, like you mentioned, adequate health facilities well stocked to cater for some of these things. When there are such conditions, are there immediate remedies that maybe a family can handle, or maybe what should the lady do immediately when there is such complications?
Well, the first thing is that any pregnant woman should go to the hospital. So when you go to the hospital, the health professionals will screen you, usually the midwives, and then in some cases obstetricians will screen you and put you at high risk or without any risk. Yes. So those that are of high risk will have to see the health providers very frequently. And when they are in labor, the labor is monitored on a sheet of paper we call pathograph. It is a sheet of paper that monitors labor and its progression to delivery. Yes. So if there is going to be any problem, you will pick it up, and then the interventions are given early enough to prevent further complications.
Okay. Now, there is this other bit about stillbirth. Can you say on authority whether a number of the stillbirths that are recorded are from younger girls who are forced into marriage, or who, are going through the process of labor and then at the end wanting to give birth?
Not necessarily, because if the labor is properly managed, you won't have a stillbirth. But the problem will arise if the baby is of low birth weight. Then all the other complications that low birth weight babies will go through, she will go through, and that may lead to the baby dying. But stillbirth actually is dying before you are delivered.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you go to hospital early and your labor is monitored, then you don't have any increased chance of having stillbirth than the other general population.
Okay. And in conclusion, what would your general advice be for young girls who are already in marriage and would definitely go through the process of undergoing some sexual activity, getting pregnant, and might want to give birth? What can they do in the interim if they are already not that active?
Well, if they can, then they should delay pregnancy till they are 20 years.
At least 20 years?
Yes.
At least 20 years?
Yes. Which will mean that they have to go for contraception. Okay. And these days, it is very common in the public hospitals and even some private hospitals. If you go, you will be provided with the services that you want. If you don't go in for the contraception and you get pregnant, then visit your health provider as frequent as possible. We can do something to help.
To help.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that'll be it. Are there special foods you should be focusing on? We should be eating a lot more of, at least around that area. Maybe you have already, gotten yourself in the situation. In terms of your dietary activities, what should you do?
Just take a balanced diet.
It should just be balanced.
Yes, a balanced diet with iron and folic acid supplementation. And this is usually provided by your health provider.
Health providers.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I think I would have to leave it here for now. But as the saying goes, a word to the wise is enough. If you know you are below the age of 20, then you want to go and engage in some level of sexual activities, you might want to be very careful. As it is, you might want to use contraceptives. And if you want to get pregnant, at least talk to a doctor, and I'm sure they will best advise you. We've been speaking with Dr. Jacob Amochu. He is a gynecologist currently with Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and was helping us understand what really goes through into considering a number of things, and especially when you're a young lady. And statistically here in Ghana, we are told that about 12.2% of young ladies are forced into marriages. They go through lots of psychological changes, and then also when they become active sexually, a number of things, a number of activities occur, and we've been getting some education in that regard. Well, so thank you very much, Doc, once again, and we hope to see more of you to help us understand a number of things. Okay, so we